Brick is not a cosmetic feature. It is a construction decision that changes the math on repairs, insurance, longevity, and resale. And today we are looking at 13 of them across 4 southern states, all listed for under $30,000. Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. 4 states, 13 solid wall houses, and every single one of them is under $30,000. Some are under $20,000. One of them is under $10,000, and I am going to save that one for the very end because it requires a specific conversation about what cheap really means when the price looks that impossible. But here is what ties all 13 of these together: brick construction. And that is not a small thing. A well-built brick house from the 1940s, 50s, or 60s, if the bones are intact, is more durable than most new construction you can buy today. Lower exterior maintenance, better thermal performance. A structure that, if it has been reasonably maintained, has already proven it can stand for 60 or 70 years. That is not nothing at these entry prices. That said, entry price is just the beginning of this conversation. None of these homes are free money. Every single one of them needs work. Some of them need a lot of it. And we are going to talk about that honestly for each property, because the rehab estimate is the number that actually determines whether a deal makes sense. Let's get into it. House 13, Jackson, Mississippi, $6,900. We are starting at the bottom of the list for a reason. $6,900. That is not a typo. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, over 1,000 square feet of brick construction on a full acre of land in Jackson, Mississippi. And the reason the price is this low tells you everything you need to know before you run any numbers. Jackson is a city of roughly 150,000 people in Hinds County, and it has been dealing with documented economic decline for years, population loss, infrastructure challenges, and a housing market where prices in certain zip codes have been in freefall. Zip code 39209 on the west side of the city reflects all of that. The median household income in this zip is somewhere in the low to mid-30s, and a $6,900 house in this context is priced at essentially land value, which itself is modest. Comparable homes in this specific corridor are selling anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 depending on condition. The listing indicates 3 bedrooms and a half-bath configuration in 1,100 square feet, built around 1970. That puts it squarely in a generation of construction where the brick shell could be solid while every system behind the walls is at or past end of life. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all of it gets inspected before you commit. Budget $15,000 to $25,000 for a thorough rehabilitation on a house this size and this condition, which means your all-in number on a fully renovated property is somewhere around $20,000 to $32,000. Now here is the honest math. Rental rates in this zip run roughly $650 to $850 a month for a renovated 3-bedroom. On a $30,000 all-in investment, that is a high cash-on-cash return on paper. The practical challenge is tenancy, vacancy, and property management in a market where economic headwinds are real. This is not a beginner play. It is a market that rewards investors who know it deeply and have local eyes on the ground. If you are buying in Jackson's west side, you are not buying convenience. You are buying yield potential in exchange for a higher management burden. Know that going in. House 12, Jackson, Mississippi, $27,500. Still in Jackson, but a fundamentally different property. $27,500 for 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, and nearly 2,000 square feet of brick construction. Built around 1960. That is a significant house at any price. At this price, it stops making sense in the way that cheap listings sometimes do. So here is what you are actually buying. A 60s-era solid brick home in a West Jackson zip code where the market has compressed values across the board. The 3-bath configuration is unusual for this era and this price range. It suggests either a larger than average footprint for the period or a conversion at some point that added bathroom capacity. Either way, at 1942 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 3 baths, this is a lot of house for the money even by Jackson standards. The inspection conversation is the same one you always have with a house this age. Foundation, roof, electrical panel, plumbing, HVAC. A 1960 build could have aluminum wiring if updates were done in the wrong era, or original knob and tube if nothing has been touched. You will not know until someone gets in the walls. Budget for a rehab somewhere in the $20,000 to $35,000 range, depending on what the inspection reveals. Hinds County median household income is approximately $44,000. Comparable renovated 4-bedroom rentals in this area of Jackson are running $900 to $1,200 a month depending on exact location and condition. At a combined entry plus rehab number of $50,000 to $65,000, the rental yield math is genuinely compelling if you can execute the rehab and manage the property effectively. The same market caveats apply here as on the previous property. Jackson West Side rewards investors who know the territory. It punishes those who buy remote and hope for the best. 2 Jackson properties in the basement. Now let's leave Mississippi's capital city and see what the same price range buys you in a smaller market. House 11, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, approximately $25,000. Hattiesburg is a different kind of Mississippi market than Jackson. The University of Southern Mississippi is based here, and that creates a stable institutional anchor for the rental market that a lot of Mississippi cities simply do not have. Students, faculty, university support staff, medical workers at Forest General Hospital, there is real, consistent rental demand in Hattiesburg's residential market in a way that distinguishes it from the capital city. This property on Killingsworth Drive is a brick home in the Bethune-Eastside Rowan neighborhood. Roughly 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Foreclosure data puts this at around $25,000 to $37,000 depending on final negotiation. At that price point, in a college market with a median household income around $46,000 for Hattiesburg proper, the rental math is more defensible than anything we have seen so far. The construction era here means the standard inspection checklist applies: roof, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. 40s and 50s brick in Mississippi is generally solid structural material. The exterior envelope on these houses typically holds up better than you expect. Systems and cosmetics are where the money goes. A realistic rehab budget on a house this size in this condition is $15,000 to $25,000 for a solid, rentable result. Hattiesburg renovated 3-bedroom rentals are running $750 to $950 a month in the Killingsworth area. That is a workable number at a combined all-in cost of $40,000 to $60,000. The University of Southern Mississippi student and staff rental demand gives this market a stability floor that purely residential markets in smaller Mississippi towns do not have. This is the property on the list where the market context works hardest in the buyer's favor. House 10, Memphis, Tennessee, $15,000. Memphis is a city with a complicated real estate story, and I want to tell it straight because there are investors making real money in this market right now, and there are also investors who have gotten buried here. Understanding the difference matters more than the listing price. 2139 Lyon Avenue is in Hyde Park, zip code 38108, listed at $15,000. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, approximately 800 to 900 square feet, built in the 1920s. The listing is cash or hard money only. Sold as is, no inspection contingency. That language tells you exactly what you are dealing with. A seller who knows the property has issues and is pricing it for an investor who can evaluate risk quickly and absorb it. Memphis rental market data in ZIP 38108 shows renovated 2-bedroom rents in the $750 to $1,100 range. The listing itself cites that range. The all-in question is whether you can get in, rehab it, and come out on the other side of that equation in positive territory. A 1920s build in this condition probably needs $20,000 to $35,000 of work, minimum, and that includes electrical, plumbing, and HVA in addition to cosmetics. Memphis has a real, functioning rental market with consistent demand. Shelby County median income is approximately $53,000. The city has major employment anchors: FedEx World Headquarters, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, the port economy, and a steady tenant pool. The risk in Memphis is not market demand. It is execution. Properties that stall mid-rehab in this zip can become money pits. Know your contractor before you write the check, not after. The Memphis entries are not finished. There are 2 more on this list, and they paint a more complete picture of what the market looks like at the bottom end. But first, let's move states. House 9, Montgomery, Alabama. Approximately $20,000 to $25,000. Montgomery is a legitimate city. It is the capital of Alabama. It has Maxwell Air Force Base, one of the largest installations in the country, and it has a real, functioning residential real estate market with actual transaction volume and comparable data to anchor your numbers. That matters when you are trying to figure out if a cheap house makes sense. 626 West Edgemont Avenue in zip 36105 sits in a West Montgomery neighborhood, where brick ranches from the 1940s and 50s make up the residential stock. At 1,641 square feet, which is substantial for this price range, you are getting a lot of raw material. The Redfin estimated value on this property sits around $33,000 to $34,000, which tells you the market is not valuing it far above its current list price, even in improved condition. That is a signal about the neighborhood trajectory. Edgemont Avenue in this zip sits in a corridor where the surrounding income data shows household incomes in the low to mid-30s. Montgomery's overall median household income is approximately $49,000, but that number varies significantly by zip and neighborhood. In this specific corridor, the rental ceiling is constrained by what the local tenant pool can afford. Expect renovated 2-bedroom rents in the $700 to $900 range here. The bones on a 1,600 square foot brick house from this era can be legitimately strong. But bones and systems are 2 different things. You are budgeting $15,000 to $30,000 for systems and cosmetics on a house this size, and you want to verify the electrical panel, the plumbing lines, and the HVAC situation before anything else. Maxwell Air Force Base nearby creates a consistent military family rental market in certain parts of Montgomery. Whether this specific block benefits from that demand depends heavily on location relative to the base. Do your neighborhood audit before you commit. House 8, Birmingham, Alabama, $18,000. Birmingham is one of the most interesting cheap house markets in the entire South right now, and I want to explain why. Because it changes how you think about what an $18,000 brick house in zip 3521 actually represents. Birmingham has been experiencing a genuine urban renaissance in its core neighborhoods over the last decade. The UAB Health System, University of Alabama at Birmingham, is one of the largest employers in the state. Protective Life, Regions Bank, Vulcan Materials. There is real corporate employment anchoring this market. And as investment has flowed into Birmingham's core and near-core neighborhoods, the pressure has pushed outward into zip codes like 35211 in the Wylam and West End corridor. 528 First Street Southwest is 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, just over 1,000 square feet on a lot of nearly 10,000 square feet. At $18,000, you are buying a brick box. And that is not an insult, that is an accurate description of what the value proposition is here. The box itself has structural integrity that a comparable frame house would not have. The work is in the systems and the cosmetics. A house this size, in this condition, in this zip, Budget $12,000 to $20,000 for a solid rehab. Comparable renovated 2-bedroom rentals in ZIP 35211 are running $800 to $1,000 a month depending on condition. At an all-in cost of $30,000 to $38,000, you are looking at a cash-on-cash return that makes sense on paper. Jefferson County median household income is approximately $52,000. The key variable here is the specific block. Birmingham at this price point is block by block, and 2 streets apart can be 2 different investment theses. Drive it. 2 Alabama entries, both brick, both workable, both carrying the same warning. Location within the ZIP matters more than the ZIP itself. Now back to Mississippi for something that looks completely different. House 7, Meridian, Mississippi, $3,000. I want you to sit with that number for a second before we talk about anything else. $3,000 for a brick house with a 2-car garage, a fenced yard over 1,400 square feet. Built in 1963. The listing explicitly notes that due to condition, the property may have health and safety risks, and that all parties must sign a hold harmless agreement before entry. That is the language that explains the price. But here is what the surrounding data tells you. Hickory Hills Circle in Meridian has 32 properties. The average market value on that street is approximately $90,000. The median sale price on the same street is $82,000. This is not a dying street. This is an established neighborhood in a mid-sized Mississippi city where one specific house has deteriorated to a condition that a conventional buyer cannot touch. That gap between $3,000 and $80,000 is where the opportunity lives for someone who can manage a full gut rehab. Meridian is a city of roughly 35,000 people in Lauderdale County. It has a real employment base. The Naval Air Station Meridian trains military pilots, and there is industrial activity through the area. The Lauderdale County median household income is approximately $41,000. Renovated 3-bedroom rents in Meridian run $700 to $900 a month. A house in this condition, hold harmless agreement, required before entry, is a serious project. You are not looking at $15,000 of work here. You are looking at a potential full gut, and the final number depends entirely on what the inspection reveals. Budget $25,000 to $50,000 and be prepared to discover problems that require more. This is a high-risk, high-ceiling play. The reward for executing it correctly is a fully renovated brick home in a neighborhood where comparable values are 10 to 30 times what you paid to get in. $29,900 Macon is the Georgia market this channel has covered before. And for good reason. Mercer University is here. Navicent Health is here. There's real economic activity and a real rental market. And that context changes what a $30,000 brick house on Villa Esta Avenue means compared to a $30,000 brick house in a market with no economic anchors. 685 Villa Esta Avenue is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,120 square feet on 1/3 of an acre built around 1929. That construction date is the number that demands attention. This is a nearly 100-year-old house, heart pine framing, thick plaster walls, a structure that has already proven it can stand for a century, but a structure that also has a century's worth of deferred maintenance potential. The inspection here is not a formality. It is the entire due diligence process. Macon-Bibb County median household income is approximately $51,000. Comparable renovated 3-bedroom rentals in ZIP 31206 are running $850 to $1,100 a month, depending on condition and exact block. At a $30,000 purchase with a rehab estimate of $20,000 to $35,000, your all-in number is $50,000 to $65,000. On a house in a city with real employer anchors and real exit options, whether you are flipping or holding. The age is a real consideration. If the electrical is original or the plumbing has not been touched, you are looking at the high end of that rehab estimate. If someone has done meaningful updates over the decades, you could be buying a legitimate deal at this entry price. The neighborhood on Villa Esta Avenue is mixed. Macon 31206 is block by block, and you do your drive before you make any move. Now we are shifting into territory where the market context gets genuinely interesting. The next three houses are in Memphis, and Memphis is a market that rewards preparation above everything else. House 5, Memphis, Tennessee, $14,000. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 650 square feet on a corner lot. Built in 1963. And the listing is explicit. Brick construction, corner lot, convenient location just minutes from downtown Memphis. And the seller notes that many homes in this area are being rehabbed and sold for more money. That last detail is not marketing language. It is a real observation about what is happening in zip 38109 right now. The 38109 zip code sits on the southwest side of Memphis near the Mississippi River, adjacent to some of the industrial and logistics infrastructure that employs tens of thousands of Shelby County workers. It is not a gentrifying neighborhood in the traditional sense, but it is a neighborhood with genuine rental demand driven by blue-collar employment proximity. Renovated 2-bedroom rents in this corridor run $750 to $950 a month. 650 square feet is a small house that is both the limitation and the advantage. The rehab scope is proportionally smaller than on a 1,200 or 1,500 square foot property. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, roof, cosmetics. On a house this size, you can do a thorough renovation for $12,000 to $20,000 if you are disciplined. At a combined all-in of $26,000 to $34,000, the cash-on-cash math on a $750 to $950 rent is genuinely compelling. The corner lot is an asset for parking, visibility, and resale flexibility. One additional note: the listing mentions this property was purchased at a tax sale, which means you will want title insurance and a title search specifically examining any encumbrances or redemption rights under Tennessee law before you close. That is not a deal breaker. It is standard practice on tax sale properties, but it is a step you cannot skip. House 4, Memphis, Tennessee, approximately $19,900. Still in Memphis, but a different zip and a different story. East Waldorf Avenue in 38106 is South Memphis, and South Memphis carries specific context that any serious investor in this market needs to understand before they run a single number. 38106 is one of the most investor-active zip codes in the entire Memphis market. There are institutional buyers, local flippers, and long-term landlords all operating here simultaneously, which means there is a functioning resale and rental market with real comparable data. But it also means the competition for workable deals is real. The listing at $19,900 for 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, approximately 1,000 square feet of brick construction is priced at the level where a buyer with contractor access and local knowledge can make something happen. A 1930s build in this condition means you are asking all the same questions: roof, electrical, specifically whether it is knob and tube original or has been updated, plumbing, HVAC, and foundation. South Memphis soil is clay-heavy in places, which can create movement issues in foundations. That gets looked at specifically. Budget $15,000 to $25,000 for a thorough rehab, understanding that the range reflects what the inspection uncovers. Shelby County median household income is approximately $53,000. Renovated 3-bedroom rentals in 38106 run $850 to $1,100 a month, depending on condition and exact location. The flip market here is active enough that a well-executed renovation has exit options beyond just holding for rent. The risk is the age and the condition. The opportunity is the price point and the market depth. 4 Memphis properties on this list across 3 different zip codes. The pattern is consistent: brick shell, old construction, active market, execution risk. One more Memphis property to go. But first, Let's go to Potts Camp. House 3, Potts Camp, Mississippi, under $30,000. Potts Camp is a small town in Marshall County, Mississippi. Population under 2,000, about 45 minutes southeast of Memphis. And this particular property stands out on this entire list for a reason that has nothing to do with the city. It is 2,300 square feet on 1.7 acres for under $30,000. That square footage at this price is the largest house-to-dollar ratio on this entire list. A 1978 build also gives you a fundamentally different construction conversation than everything from the 40s and 50s. 1978 means you are likely dealing with updated electrical code from that era, more modern plumbing materials, and HVAC infrastructure that is old but not ancient. The inspection questions are similar, but the risk profile is somewhat lower than a mid-century build. This is a United States Department of Housing and Urban Development owned property. A HUD home, which means there are specific purchasing rules. HUD homes are sold as is through a bidding process on the official HUD home store. The listing notes it is 203K eligible, which is significant. A 203K loan is a Federal Housing Administration rehabilitation mortgage that lets a buyer finance both the purchase price and the renovation cost in a single loan. For a property at this price that needs work, 203K eligibility opens the door for buyers who cannot write a cash rehab check, which is most buyers. Marshall County median household income is approximately $43,000. The rental market in a town this small is thin. This is more of a primary residence buy or a long-hold rural investment than an active rental play. But 2,300 square feet on 1.7 acres for under $30,000 plus, a rehabilitation loan option is a combination that does not come up often. For a buyer who wants land, space, and a rural Mississippi lifestyle at minimal entry cost, this is the most raw value on this list. We have been building toward the top 3. What comes next is where the brick construction story gets most interesting. 2 Jackson properties that I am holding until the end for specific reasons, and then the bonus that reframes everything. House 2, Jackson, Mississippi, $31,998. Here is where this list shifts. $32,000, 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, 1,623 square feet of solid brick construction. The listing language is specific about that. Solid brick, not brick veneer. 2 fireplaces, 1 full acre of land. In Jackson, Mississippi, the 1-acre lot is the detail that separates this property from everything else in the same zip code. In a market where lots this size are genuinely scarce at this price, an acre of land changes the exit math. You are not just buying a house, you are buying enough ground to do something meaningful with if the neighborhood trajectory shifts. And there are parts of Jackson where that shift is happening slowly but documentably as the city works through its long-term infrastructure and economic challenges. 1,600 square feet with 2 baths and 2 fireplaces and a solid brick structure is a fundamentally more livable and rentable configuration than most of what we have looked at today. The 2 fireplace detail signals a house that was originally built for comfort. This was not a starter home construction. It was a solidly built residential property that has fallen in value because of where the market went around it, not because of what the house itself is. The inspection is still the entire game on a house this age in this market. Electrical, plumbing, roof condition, HVAC, and foundation are all on the list. Budget $18,000 to $30,000 for a thorough rehab. All in at $50,000 to $62,000 on a 1,600 square foot solid brick house with 2 baths, 2 fireplaces, and an acre of land in a market with real employment anchors. Hinds County median income is approximately $44,000. Is a number that looks different than almost anything available at this price in a comparable market. Renovated 3-bedroom rentals in this zip are running $900 to $1,200 a month for quality product. The acre of land is the variable that keeps this deal interesting beyond just the rent math. And now, the the one I have been holding, the house that made me stop when I was building this list. Because the number does not look right. And the reason it does not look right is exactly why this is number 1. House 1, Memphis, Tennessee, approximately $25,000, 126 Lucy Avenue, South Memphis. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,511 square feet of brick construction on a cove street, which means a quiet interior street with lower traffic and a more residential feel than a through-street address. Listed at approximately $25,000. Here is why this is number 1. 1,511 square feet of brick construction for $25,000 is a price to square footage ratio that is almost never available in a market with real rental demand. The Memphis metro area has a functioning, active investment market. There are property management companies here. There is transaction volume. There is comparable data. You can underwrite a Memphis deal with real numbers, unlike some of the smaller markets on this list, where you are making educated guesses about rental absorption. The listing description is honest about the condition. As is, sold as is, seller has no knowledge, which in Memphis investment language means a cash or hard money buyer is expected to evaluate risk independently. The phrase used in the listing is exactly right. This is a diamond in the rough. Whether it actually becomes a diamond depends entirely on what the inspection reveals and what it costs to rehabilitate. A 1,500 square foot brick house from the 1930s or 40s that needs full rehabilitation is a $15,000 to $30,000 project depending on systems condition. All in at $40,000 to $55,000 on a 1,500 square foot solid brick home in ZIP 38106 on a quiet cove street with favorable lot geometry. Renovated comparable rents in this corridor run $900 to $1,200 a month. That is a genuine investment-grade deal if the execution is clean. Memphis ZIP 38106 has enough investor activity that you can find local contractors who have done dozens of these houses. You are not figuring out an unfamiliar rehabilitation in an unfamiliar market. You are executing a well-understood project in a market where the playbook already exists. The buyer who gets this one is not lucky. They are prepared. They have a contractor. They have done the neighborhood audit. They know what renovated comps in this ZIP look like, and they move before someone else does. 13 brick houses, 4 southern states, all of them under $30,000. And every single one of them has the same underlying story. The price is low because the market and the condition have compressed value to a point where most buyers walk away. The investor who wins here is the one who does not walk away, who walks in, inspects it, prices the rehab accurately, verifies the market comps, and makes a decision based on actual numbers. Brick construction is the common thread. It does not eliminate risk. It does not guarantee profit. But it does mean the exterior envelope on these houses has survived decades in a way that frame construction often does not. You are buying structural durability at prices that do not reflect that durability. That gap is where the opportunity is. Here is what I want you to do right now. Drop a comment and tell me which state on this list you would start in if you had $30,000 for a purchase and $15,000 for a rehab. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, or Tennessee. Pick one and tell me why. I read every comment. And tell me where to go next. Should we do cheapest brick houses in the Midwest? Or do we stay in the South and drop the price ceiling even further? Let me know. Subscribe if you are not already. We are doing